Part 54. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 531. At this moment, seeing that Lu Feng did not make a decision on the spot, but promised to avenge himself first, he hurriedly bowed. I thank you, Your Majesty. However, Chang Sun Wujiao was indeed relieved. After all, she had been engaged to Li Shimin before, and now that Li Shimin had just been killed, she really didn't want to become a member of the Emperor of the Dragon Kingdom's harem so quickly. But Li Ziyuning originally thought she would be relieved, but when Lu Feng didn't decide to include her in the harem on the spot, she felt a little disappointed for some reason. But before she could savor the reason, Lu Feng smiled again and said, "But don't worry, the good times are coming soon." After hearing this, not only Li Ziyuning and Chang Sun Wujiao were quite surprised. Even Wei Zheng looked in disbelief. After all, the current strength of the Dragon Kingdom is only more than 20,000, and the rest are surrendered troops after the defeat of the Sui dynasty and other anti-kings. Their combat effectiveness and loyalty cannot be guaranteed. So with just such a small number of troops, what can we do to fight against the Tang dynasty? Moreover, even if Li Yuanba, Lu Buletin, and others had superior military strength and could capture many cities of the Tang dynasty during the attack, what could they use to defend the city? After all, there are only 5 capable generals in the Dragon Kingdom, and even with Lu Feng and Li Yuanba, they are far from being able to defend all the cities. At that time, Li Jiancheng only needs to organize himself and attack Lu Feng, Li Yuanba, and others at any time. Wouldn't the Dragon Kingdom be like a blind bear picking up corns, picking up and throwing away each one? But when they saw Lu Feng's confident smile, and Zhao Yun with his expression on his face, he couldn't help but feel a little suspicious. He didn't know what Lu Feng was selling in his gourd. Of course, Wei Zheng and others were still puzzled, but not everyone was thinking about Lu Feng's decision. Li Yuanba said very excitedly, "I'm going to marry you." "That's great. In the future, Dragon Emperor Your Majesty is Yuanba's brother-in-law, can you practice martial arts with Yuanba every day?" Li Ziyuning had already put this embarrassing thing behind her, but when she saw Li Yuanba mention it again, her face once again showed up. A red cloud appeared. At the same time, she thought in her heart, "You brat, your sister, I sacrificed myself to save you, but not only did you not thank me, but you were also so happy. Is it because your sister can't get married?" Li Ziyuning thought this in her heart, and without slowing down her hands, she walked over and grabbed Li Yuanba's ear. While teaching him a lesson, she pulled him out of the house and took him to the room Lu Feng prepared for him to recuperate. If Li Ziyuning dared to hold Li Yuanba's ear like this before, Li Yuanba would have become furious and swung a hammer at her. But now, for some unknown reason, Li Yuanba felt an indescribable warmth in his heart. When Chang Sun Wujiao saw that Li Ziyuning had left for an excuse and he was the only woman left in the room, he quickly confessed to Lu Feng and chased him out. Lu Feng watched the 3 of them leave, and then pushed away Zhao Yun and others, leaving only Wei Zheng alone. Then he turned to look at Wei Zheng and said to him seriously, "Xiancheng, your mission is completed this time, it's perfect. According to my will, Li Jiancheng successfully killed Li Shimin. Fei Lu reminds you, 3 things about reading, collect and recommend. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 532. And raised him to the throne of the Tang dynasty, and also brought Princess Pingyang over, allowing me to subdue Li Yuanba with almost no effort. This is all your real contribution. I have already remembered it in my heart, and I will definitely give you a corresponding reward in the future. In addition, if you want anything else, just tell me as long as I can provide it." Wei Zheng took a deep look at Lu Feng, as if he wanted to see clearly what Lu Feng was really thinking, but in the end he still said with a wry smile, "I don't want anything, as long as your majesty doesn't kill me to silence me." Lu Feng didn't expect that Wei Zheng would make such a request, and he said a little funny at the moment, so, do you think I should kill you to silence you? Wei Zheng lowered his head and pondered for a moment, then raised his head and said seriously, since ancient times, emperors have called themselves loneliest, and it is not unreasonable. In troubled times, as an emperor, you must ignore your emotions, be truly ruthless, and eradicate all factors that are unfavorable to you. Only then can you achieve great things at the lowest cost. And now tiger generals like Li Yuanba and Princess Pingyang are willing to surrender to His Majesty, just because Li Jiancheng killed Li Shimin, which made them feel chilled. But no matter how angry Li Jianken's actions make them, they will definitely be the first to rebel once they know that it was me, Wei Zheng, who was beside Li Jiancheng and instigated him to do this, and that the final instigator was His Majesty. And according to Li Yuanba's force, if I were not present at that time, it would definitely bring a huge blow to the Dragon Kingdom. Therefore, from Zheng's point of view, Your Majesty should kill me. Only the mouth of the dead is the tightest. Lu Feng couldn't help but laugh a little after hearing Wei Zheng's analysis, so he said, so, from the perspective of interests, I really should kill you, so what do you want me to kill you? When Wei Zheng saw that Lu Feng was still asking for his opinion, he suddenly felt speechless. After all, this was indeed a very tangled issue. From his point of view, no matter which emperor he was, he would definitely kill him for his own benefit. But if he could live, who would want to die immediately? Lu Feng saw that Wei Zheng was really thinking about whether he should persuade him to kill him, so he hurriedly said, Xian Cheng, in fact, you can choose not to do anything after completing the task. If you come back without hesitation, how can I kill you? You yourself know that no matter who is the emperor and gives you this task, he will definitely find a way to prevent you from leaking this matter, and then find an excuse to kill you. Therefore, for the sake of your own safety, you can leave the Dragon Kingdom directly, or you can change to someone else who is responsible and unwilling to put yourself in crisis. After completing my mission, you will remain anonymous and live in seclusion. But you didn't. Not only did you complete the tasks I gave you excellently, but you even exceeded your expectations by many. However, you came back to life knowing that I might kill you and silence you. This is your responsibility. Since you are so sincere to me, how can I be an ungrateful person and not even have this little trust in you? Therefore, let this matter rot in your heart from now on and never mention it again. From now on, you will be my most trustworthy minister in the world. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 533. Lu Feng's words were from the bottom of his heart. Whether in the original world of the Three Kingdoms or in the world of the Sui and Tang dynasties, he was not the kind of ruthless emperor who put interests first. On the contrary, as a person who came from later generations, he had great respect for all these historical celebrities. Even when he became a monarch, he regarded them as his most trustworthy brothers. Maybe other kings also had this idea in their hearts, but they couldn't clearly see the character of each minister and whether they were absolutely loyal to themselves, so for the sake of profit, they had to take the method of silencing them. But Lu Feng's biggest advantage as a time traveler is that he has a god's perspective. He clearly knows everyone's character traits, and knows who is loyal and courageous, and who is duplicitous. Therefore, he can truly be trustworthy in employing people, and at the same time, he can also make his subordinates convinced of him. And precisely because what Lu Feng just said was an expression of his true thoughts, and not a hypocritical statement to make Wei Zheng lower his guard and then secretly attack later, Wei Zheng was really moved by it. He looked at Lu Feng deeply for a long time, then finally knelt down on the ground with a plop, kowtowed to Lu Feng and said, Your Majesty, the reason why Wei Zheng was willing to come back even though he knew that Lu Feng might kill him and silence him. He returned to life and brought Li Ziyuning over in order to help Lu Feng subdue Li Yuanba. It was precisely because of his recognition of Lu Feng as the emperor. Compared with when he came to join Lu Feng, among the many princes in the world, in his opinion, only Li Tang and Longuo had the strength to unify the world. Needless to say, Li Tang had an army of nearly 1 million, and an infinite warrior like Yuanba was naturally more likely to dominate the world than other princes. Although the Dragon Kingdom has few troops, it is the charm of Dragon Emperor Lu Feng that they like. Judging from his development, this person has a strong purpose in doing things, makes decisions before acting, and is very confident. After meeting Lu Feng, he was completely conquered by Lu Feng. He knew that if he could complete the task Lu Feng gave him, it would definitely give Longuo an advantage over Li Tang. And since he has chosen to serve Lu Feng, he will naturally try every means to give the Dragon Kingdom an advantage. Even if Lu Feng kills him because of this, he deserves to die. However, Lu Feng did not expect that his heartfelt words would move Wei Zheng so much, and he immediately helped Wei Zheng up. At the same time, Lu Feng said to him, Xian Cheng, I know you have great talent, so I will now make you the right deputy prime minister of the Dragon Kingdom, and you will help me manage all the government affairs of the Dragon Kingdom in this world. Wei Zheng listened. After Lu Feng mentioned this world twice to the Dragon Kingdom, he couldn't help but be a little confused. He didn't know what Lu Feng meant, but he still bowed. I thank you for your Majesty's trust. I will live up to your Majesty's high expectations in the future. Lu Feng saw that Wei Zheng had completely entered his role, so he said to him, now the Prime Minister of the left, Guoqia, is fighting in the south with the Liang state. Previously, because Li Yuanji's 300,000 troops were pressing down on the border, I was worried that I would be passive if the two sides fought. So he has been told that he only needs to hold back Liang's army and does not need to attack. Now that Li Yuanji has withdrawn his troops, after this disastrous defeat, Li Jiancheng should not send troops to Yangzhou again in the short term. Fei Lu reminds you I 1/4 3 things to do when reading collect and recommend. 3 Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 534. Lu Feng continued, so I will send an order to Guoqia tomorrow, asking him to use all his strength to eliminate Xiao Xian's forces as soon as possible. After the entire south is pacified, I will lead the army north to fight with the Tang dynasty is about to start a decisive battle, so you need to work hard during this period and arrange the food and other matters for the army in advance. Wei Zheng couldn't help but be stunned after hearing Lu Feng's words. Lu Feng said before that he was about to send troops to the Tang dynasty, and I thought Lu Feng said this to appease Li Ziyuning and the 2 women, but now it seems that Lu Feng really wants to attack Datang. So Wei Zheng frowned and persuaded, Your Majesty, with all due respect, our Dragon Kingdom is currently short of troops. The number of trustworthy direct soldiers and horses is only more than 23,000. The rest are former prisoners. Not to mention low combat effectiveness, there is no guarantee that he will be killed. Loyalty. Looking back at the Tang dynasty, although Li Yuanji lost 1/5 of his 300,000 strong army this time, this was just a drop in the bucket for the Tang dynasty. As early as when Li Yuan first raised his army, they had nearly 100 soldiers. 10,000 people. Now that the Tang dynasty has unified the entire north, eliminated Wang Shishang, Yuan Huaji and other princes, and absorbed their power, there must be more than 1 million troops. Under this situation, our army took the initiative to attack the Tang dynasty. Not only will it waste people and money, but even if you can take advantage of your strong combat effectiveness to gain more territory, you will not be able to defend it. Your Majesty must not do such a thing that outweighs the gains and losses. Based on your advice, Your Majesty should proceed steadily and train those people well first. Lower the troops and turn them into troops that can be fully trusted and capable of fighting before sending troops. After listening to Wei Zheng's words, Lu Feng knew slightly that under normal circumstances, Wei Zheng's suggestion was definitely a mature and prudent approach, and it was also the most stable. The one most likely to succeed. However, is the strength of the Dragon Kingdom really only limited to more than 20,000 people on the surface? Xian Cheng, do you think that if I only have the 5 dragon generals and their personal guards in my hands, plus my 3,000 red blood dragon riders and 5,000 ordinary Dragon Kingdom elite soldiers, I would dare to start a war with Li Jiancheng like this? Wei Zheng was even more confused after hearing Lu Feng's words. The Dragon Kingdom has been in Yangzhou for more than half a year, but there are only so many people Lu Feng can use. Does Lu Feng have other trump cards? Lu Feng looked at Wei Zheng's confused expression and said with a smile, "Don't worry, I'm not someone who ignores people when I'm hot-headed, and I won't fight an uncertain battle. Just follow my orders. Just get everything ready." When Wei Zheng saw what Lu Feng said, he stopped talking. He responded to Lu Feng and took the order. After Wei Zheng left, Lu Feng immediately sent a message to Guojia and Ma Chao in Yuzhang, asking them to leave within 3 days. Xiao Mian was eliminated internally, and the Liang Kingdom was merged into the territory of the Dragon Kingdom to unify Jiangdong. Prior to this, Guojia had always followed Lu Feng's orders, focusing on military training, and tried to use the surrendered troops of the Chu Kingdom and the Sui dynasty as much as possible. Xiao Mian's troops fought and maintained the balance of the battle, successfully holding back Xiao Mian. Because he had not attacked with all his strength, Ma Chao was very bored, especially after learning that Huang Zhong had already killed the Tang dynasty after returning to Yangzhou. General and fought with Li Yuanba, his hands were even more itchy. Now that he finally got Lu Feng's order to attack with all his strength, he suddenly became excited. To read the underlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 535. Since Guojia had been focusing on military training before, the soldiers sent in the battle with Liang State were all surrendered troops, and their combat effectiveness was similar to that of Liang State soldiers. Therefore, the two sides have been in a stalemate, which also made Xiao Mian relaxed his vigilance. In his opinion, the Dragon Kingdom's powerful military strength, which was widely rumored by the outside world, was nothing more than this, and the military advisor Guojia, who was said to have amazing plans, did not use any decisive strategies. So when Guojia received Lu Feng's order and took the initiative to send troops the next day, Xiao Mian still didn't have much preparation, thinking that with his own army, he could still block Guojia's attack. Even if he was more cautious, there was still may defeat the opponent. However, since Lu Feng had issued an order to eliminate Xiao Xian within 3 days, Guojia naturally would not continue to fight with his troops. Instead, he sent Ma Chao and his Dragon City cavalry as the vanguard to attack Xiao Xian's army. In the previous battle, Guojia also formed a cavalry in order to enrich the types of troops he surrendered, and asked Shan Xiangxin to train it. However, although Shan Xiangxin was one of the 18 fierce generals of the Sui and Tang dynasties, and his personal force was indeed very strong, he was born in Green Forest and had little experience in military training. Therefore, in the previous battle, the cavalry unit did not show much combat effectiveness, which also made Xiao Xian think that although the cavalry unit fighting today seemed to have a strong momentum, it was not invincible. However, he had no idea what kind of combat effectiveness the Dragon City cavalry he faced this time had as a division of kings. It is precisely because of the strength of the Dragon City cavalry, the country's army, and the force of Ma Chao and Shan Xiangxin that they are unstoppable in the entire Liang Kingdom. So what strategy will Guojia use in this battle? After all, one force can defeat 10 levels. In the face of absolute strength, Xiao Mian will never be Ma Chao's opponent no matter how small his tactics are. As a result, the battle between the two sides suddenly started with completely unequal information. It was not until the armies of the two sides fought together that Xiao Mian suddenly discovered how powerful his own army was. Although he had 400,000 elite soldiers in terms of numbers, and the other party only dispatched these 3,000 cavalry, plus 2 generals, but once the fight started, the other party's 3,000 cavalry seemed to have the impact of an army of 300,000. Led by the 2 generals at the head, these 3,000 cavalry were like cutting tofu with a hot knife, splitting their army into 2 halves the moment the 2 sides fought. What kind of cavalry is this? The armor on their bodies clearly looks thin, but the weapons in their hands cannot break through their defense. They were obviously still some distance away from me, but almost in the blink of an eye, they had already rushed to the front on their war horses, and used their powerful impact to knock away the defense lines of their own soldiers. Originally, the best way to deal with the cavalry was to shoot with bows and arrows, but they were not afraid of the rain of arrows in the sky. They waved the spears in their hands and pushed the bows and arrows away. Even if there were fish that slipped through the net, they could not be harmed at all. Moreover, not only were their defenses excellent, their attacks were also unstoppable. Every wave of the spear in the hands of each soldier would inevitably take away the lives of several Liang soldiers. To read the underlined version of the novel, please download the Philu Novel app. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 536. Each one of them can equal 10 to 1, and the formation they form can even unleash 100 times more combat power. How did Xiao Mian know that the armor on the Dragon City Iron Cavalry was forged by the Dragon City Armor Master through a special process? Although it looked like only a thin layer, it was actually 3 layers of heavy armor. Coupled with the armor on each war horse, the Dragon City Cavalry are actually heavy cavalry with the flexibility and speed of light cavalry, so they have the same defensive capabilities as heavy cavalry. Ordinary bows and arrows and weapons cannot cause them harm at all. Moreover, the Dragon City Cavalry was formed by Lu Feng using the job transfer order of the Overlord Cavalry. Their predecessors were the invincible Overlord Cavalry under Xiang Yu, the Overlord of Western Chu. In the face of such a cavalry that is both good at offense and defense, Xiao Mian's 400,000 elite Liang army is naturally difficult to resist. Moreover, what is truly terrifying about the Dragon Kingdom's army is not the 3,000 Dragon City cavalry, but the 2 generals leading them. Needless to say, Shan Xiangxin was the general manager of the green forests in the south, north, and south. He held a golden-topped jujube tree that weighed 120 kilograms and fought left and right among Liangqiajun. No one could defeat him. Moreover, his identity as the second owner of Juxian village gave him a good reputation among the heroes of the world, so many people knew his identity as soon as they saw the golden-top Ziyang in his hand, and naturally they did not dare to confront him. Although Ma Chao became famous outside Yangzhou city for rivaling Wu Tianzi, not many people had seen him after all. Therefore, many people saw that he was young and wanted to kill him first. However, it wasn't until they actually fought that they realized that this young boy's martial arts was far beyond his own, and his marksmanship was even more ruthless than Shan Xiangxin, who had been famous for many years. Only then did people think of Ma Kale, who had been defeated by Wu Tian, a euro the 6th hero in the world, but there was no room for distraction on the battlefield. When they came, they had already been defeated by Ma Chao. Ma Chao's appearance made Zhu Wuodeng's vision split. Although he knew that his father Wu Yunzhao and uncle Wu Tianzi both died at the hands of Dragon Emperor Lu Feng, this was Lu Feng's apprentice. If he could kill him, he would also a wonderful thing. Moreover, most of his current reputation was gained by stepping on his uncle Wu Tianzi. So he held a big gun and rode towards Ma Chao. Ma Chao charged for a while among the Liang army. Although he killed many Liang soldiers, no one could take his attack, which made him very unhappy. At this time, he saw Wu Dengzhu coming towards him. Although he didn't know his identity, seeing his extraordinary temperament, he immediately felt motivated to fight and stepped forward to fight with him. Both of them are good with guns. Zhu Wuden has already joined the ranks of first-class generals at a young age and has shown extremely high talent. However, he still has no power to fight back in front of Ma Chao, who is already a peerless general. 10 rounds into the fight between the two, Zhu Wuden knew that he was no match for Ma Chao, so he turned around and tried to leave, but was stabbed into the back of the heart by Ma Chao, killing him on the spot. At this time, Xiao Mian knew that there was no room for reversal in this battle, so he had no choice but to withdraw his troops and retreat to Zhongling. Filu reminds you, 3 things about reading: collect, recommend, and share. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 537. At this time, Xiao Mian's strategy when facing Guojia was exactly the same as the strategy adopted by Liu Bei before Lu Feng finally destroyed the country. They both gave up part of the territory and returned the entire army to the capital to defend it. This strategy adopted by Liu Bei back then brought serious trouble to the Dragon Kingdom. Even if Lu Feng sent his flying generals Lu Buletin to Luocheng, there was still no progress. In the end, Lu Feng relied on Lu Feng to break through to Wuji general. The final word. However, although Xiao Mian adopted the same strategy as Liu Bei, the results they achieved were completely different. Liu Bei retreated to Luocheng. The reason why he was able to withstand the attack of the Dragon Kingdom army in the early stage was mainly because he had advantages in several aspects. First of all, the only force Lu Feng sent to attack Shu at that time was Ma Teng's Ziliang army, while the main force of the Dragon Kingdom was under the leadership of Lu Feng to attack Cao's Wei state with all their strength. Secondly, the road to Shu is as difficult as climbing to the sky. Luocheng is located in the hinterland of Sichuan and is surrounded by mountains. Both Ma Tenga Euro trademark S Ziliang army and later Lu Bua Euro trademark S Bingzhou Wolf cavalry relied on cavalry as the main force, and could not survive in the mountains. Exhibition, this is to occupy the geographical advantage. The last point, and the most important point, is that Liu Bei has the poisonous warrior Jia Su, the military commander Wei Yan, Guanzhong, and the peerless general Wu Tugu. In contrast, the Dragon Kingdom had only Chen Gong as a scribe at the beginning. Although he was also a top strategist, he was still far behind Jia Su. As for military generals, the peerless military general Liu Wei was entangled in the protruding bones of the peerless military general, and the only remaining super general Pang De couldn't resist the 3 superheroes Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, and Wei Yan. Liu Bei thus occupied Renhe. It was precisely because Liu Bei had the right time, place, and people in the early stage that he blocked Lu Buletin and Ma Teng's attacks and caused them to suffer a lot. But then as Lu Feng defeated Cao and devoted all his energy to fighting Liu Bei, the situation immediately changed. First of all, in terms of weather and time, the two sides can be said to be on par, while Renhe is completely biased towards the Dragon Kingdom. After all, in terms of counselors, Guoqia, Zhou Yu, 11's He, Sun Yu, and others are all comparable to Jia Su. In terms of generals, Dian Wei, Zhao Yun, Tai Shisai, and others are all super generals, plus peerless generals. Lu Buletin is also enough to compete with Shu. And as the battle progressed, Dian Wei broke through and entered a peerless state, and the situation began to reverse. Especially Lu Feng, as the Wuji general, was unmatched at the time. Therefore, Renhe has already favored the Dragon Kingdom at this time, and as the saying goes, the weather is not as good as the right place, so it is not surprising that the Dragon Kingdom, which occupied Renhe, defeated Liu Bei. Now Xiao Mian has fully retreated to Zhongling. There is no danger to defend, and he does not occupy the right time and place. With Zhu Wudeng's death in the battle, Liang Guo does not even have a first-class general, and Renhe is also on Guoqia's side, so naturally he cannot resist Guoqia. Qia's attack. Therefore, on the second day after Xiaomian retreated to Zhongling, the Long Kingdom army, led by Ma Chao and Shan Xiangxin, opened the gates of Zhongling in just one siege battle, rushed into the city and killed Xiaomian on the spot. From the time Guojie received Lu Feng's order to pacify the Liang kingdom within 3 days to the time Xiaomian was completely destroyed, Guojie completed the task ahead of schedule in just 2 days. To read the underlined version of the novel, please download the Filu novel app. A. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 538. Lianguo's soldiers died and surrendered, and a small number of them fled north to Datang. Later, because there were no enemies in the south, Guojie left the tens of thousands of surrendered troops that had previously been used to hold back Xiaomian's army to guard in Yuzhang, Zhongling and other places. He himself took Ma Chao, Shan Xiangxin, and 3,000 dragons with him. Qingdieki returned to Yangzhou. At this time, Li Yuanji was defeated and fled to Lucca after Lu Feng and Li Yuanba jointly attacked the camp and lost tens of thousands of troops. When he saw that the Dragon Kingdom's army had not caught up, he ordered arrest and sent the news back to Chang'an to ask Li Jiancheng for help. Originally, in Li Jiancheng's mind, although Li Yuanba was excellent in force, he was not very smart after all, and he was not wary of his brother Li Yuanji, so it must be very easy for Li Yuanji to get rid of him. In fact, it was really easy at first, but just when Li Yuanba was about to lose his hold, Lu Feng suddenly appeared with Zhao Yun and 6,000 cavalry, and rescued Li Yuanba. So Li Jiancheng received Li Yuanji's request for help, and when he learned the whole story, he became furious. After all, Li Yuanba, a boundless warrior, was unbeatable in the entire world, but now he became an enemy. How could he be satisfied with such a result? So in anger, Li Jiancheng decided to lead his army south and conquer Yangzhou in person. He said to the officials in the morning Chang Sunwuji and Li Ziyuning teamed up to collude with the Dragon Kingdom to kill King Qin. I have not investigated this matter. Now Li Ziyuning has abducted King Zhao to the Dragon Kingdom. How can I allow her to do this? If you are arrogant, you will destroy it yourself. In fact, Li Jiancheng killed Qin King Li Shi. Because the location was hidden and it was night, no one except Liang Shitai knew about it. At first, he was afraid that Liang Shitai would report him to Li, so he forced the palace to seize the throne in advance, but later he learned that Liang Shitai had been accidentally killed. This result made Li Jiancheng 10. Although he did not know who killed Liang Shitai, he had a vague feeling that there must be something fishy. But because Ren Zheng was accidentally burned to death, none of his confidants who knew the truth about Li Shiman's death could help him analyze the cause, so he finally had no choice but to let it go. However, Li Shiman had a group of supporters, such as Qin Kaiang, Yu Qigong, Chen Yaojin, and others, and their force was unmatched among Li Jiancheng's confidants. Regarding Li Shiman's death, Li Jiancheng must give them an explanation, otherwise they are likely to leave Datang due to the absence of the Ming dynasty. Therefore, Li Jiancheng blamed the assassination of Li Shiman on Chang Sunwuji, and described Li Ziyuning as an accomplice. They united with the people of the Dragon Kingdom to kill Li Shiman. Originally, Chang Sunwuji was Li Shiman's most loyal supporter, so Qin Kaiang and others did not believe it at first. However, Li Jiancheng found a lot of evidence to prove that Li Shiman's death was caused by Chang Sunwuji. In particular, he later found Li Shiman's body in Chang Sun's mansion, so those who didn't believe it naturally had no way to refute it. If Chang Sunwuji hadn't killed Li Shiman, why would his body appear in Chang Sun mansion? Of course, he had sent someone to hide this body in Chang Sun's mansion in advance, but no one knew about it. Filu reminds you, 3 things about reading: collect, recommend, and share. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 539. Regarding the appearance of Li Shiman's body in Chang Soon-Wuji's house, although there are still some loopholes, such as the possibility that the body was hidden by the people who searched Chang Soon-Wuji's house, Li Jiancheng personally gave this case it doesn't matter once the matter is settled. Although it is inevitable that many people will have some doubts about this and even guess the doubts, but because there is no evidence, no one will foolishly say such a thing. After all, Li Jiancheng has now become the emperor of the Tang dynasty, with absolute and supreme power. Anyone who wants to challenge the emperor's majesty will only die, so everyone turns a blind eye. However, after Li Jiancheng sent the Yulin army to capture Chang Soon-Wuji, the reaction of Chang Soon-Wuji's brother and sister and Li Ziyuning's final choice did give Li Jiancheng a lot of room to play. After all, Li Jiancheng sent the Yulin army to take him back to the palace for investigation on the grounds that he suspected that Chang Soon-Wuji had colluded with the Long Kingdom to kill Li Shiman. Moreover, before Li Jiancheng sent the Yulin army to take action, the imperial edict had been announced, and many ministers also knew about it. Therefore, people inevitably think that if Chang Soon-Wuji had a clear conscience, wouldn't he just follow the Yulin army back to accept the investigation to clear away the suspicion? But since he resisted to the death, he must not dare to accept the investigation. But few people would have thought that if Li Jiancheng sincerely wanted to blame Chang Soon-Wuji for killing Li Shiman, he must have already thought of a way out. No matter how Chang Soon-Wuji tried to defend himself, it would be of no use. And after he was arrested and killed, Ning rescued his sister Chang Soon-Wuji. As the princess of the Tang dynasty, she would have had trouble repaying him if Chang Soon-Wuji had not colluded with the Dragon Kingdom. But Li Ziyuning didn't say anything, and left directly with his eldest grandson Wujia to go south to join the Dragon Emperor. This undoubtedly confirmed the charges of Li Ziyuning and eldest grandson Wuji colluding with the people of the Dragon Kingdom. Therefore, Li Jiancheng was able to successfully eliminate his suspicions and recruit Li Shiman's civil servants and military generals, such as Fang Xianling, Qin Kaiyan, and others, into his army. In fact, if Li Ziyuning had not fled directly to Yangzhou after escaping from trouble, but had gone to Qin Kaiyan, Yu Qigong, and others, then she would have realized her desire for revenge more easily. After all, Qin Kaiyan and others originally supported Li Shiman against Li Jiancheng, and their relationship with Li Shiman was not only a relationship between emperor and minister, but also as close as brothers. If they knew that Li Jiancheng killed Li Shiman, they would definitely go to the palace to avenge Li Shiman. And with the strength of Qin Kaiyan, Yu Qigong, and others, the Yulin army under Li Jiancheng will never be able to stop them. It's just that Li Ziyuning was a fan of the authorities at the time, and Wei Zheng was on the side. He wanted to make Li Ziyuning defect to Lu Feng and recruit Li Yuanba to his subordinates, so he kept misleading her, so that she never thought of going to Qin Kaiyan to explain the truth. Moreover, Wei Zheng took advantage of Li Ziyuning's concern for Li Yuanba and told her that Li Jiancheng would definitely attack Li Yuanba, so that Li Ziyuning had no time to think of anything else and directly decided to save Li Yuanba. And when he was unable to rescue Li Yuanba independently, he took refuge in Lu Feng, which gave Li Jiancheng evidence for his lies. Therefore, almost all officials in the Tang dynasty now believe that Chang Soon-Wuji and Li Ziyuning colluded with the Dragon Emperor. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 540. Assassinated Li Shiman, and Li Jiancheng, as the only successor to the throne, was naturally supported by hundreds of officials. At this time, Li Jiancheng had just announced that he would personally attack the Dragon Kingdom in Yangzhou. Someone immediately stood up and persuaded Your Majesty, it is true that our mortal enemy of the Tang dynasty is the Dragon Kingdom, but Luo Cheng in Yuzhu must also be on guard. Li Jiancheng focused his eyes. At first glance, the speaker was Fang Xianling, a former counselor under Li Shimin. This man was quite strategic and had a high status among Li Shimin and the counselors in the entire Tang dynasty. However, even though Li Jiancheng knew Fang Xuanling's ability, he did not recognize his status as Li Shimin's guest, so he frowned and asked Fang Iking, "What is there to worry about Luo Cheng?" However, before Fang Xianling could speak, Du Ruhui stood up and said, "Your Majesty, you don't know. This Luo Cheng is known as the cold-faced spearman in the world. His Luo family's marksmanship is rare. According to General Qin Kaiyan, Luo Cheng's martial arts, even if he is not as good as Li Yuanba, among all the generals in the Tang dynasty, only Pei Yuanqing can defeat him. The other generals will definitely lose against him. In addition, Your Majesty, you also know the strength of the Yuzhu army. Luo Yi, the former king of Yan, the Yanyun 18 cavalry formed are the most elite troops in the world. Although they are very small in number, their combat effectiveness is unparalleled in the world. Although Luo Yi's wife had submitted a letter of surrender to the Tang dynasty on behalf of Luo Cheng that day, it was not Luo after all. His original intention was that if he goes south to attack Chang'an while His Majesty is leading the army to attack Yangzhou, Chang'an will be in danger. After hearing Du Ruhui's words, Li Jiancheng became serious. After all, both Fang Xianling and Du Ruhui are not capable under Ren Zheng. He is now the most valuable counselor under his command. If Fang Xianling was just one person worried about Li Jianchen sending troops to Yangzhou and Luo Cheng, he would still have reservations because of personal emotions, but now that both he and Du Ruhui are worried about Li Jiancheng, then he has to pay attention to this matter. And as Du Ruhui said, Luo Yi's wife was originally said to help Luo Cheng submit the letter of surrender because Li Jiancheng was still attacking the northern princes with the help of Ren Zheng. At that time, Luo Cheng was still observing filial piety due to the death of his father Luo Yi, so no one could know whether this letter of surrender was what Luo Cheng meant. If he did not sincerely surrender to the Tang dynasty, and when Li Jiancheng launched his army in Yangzhou and brought the Yuzhu army to attack Chang'an, then Chang'an, which had no commander at that time and was empty of troops, would be very likely to be captured by Luo Cheng. As a result, even though the Tang dynasty had an army of 1 million, even the capital city was breached, and naturally it lost the morale to fight the Dragon Kingdom. It might be attacked from both sides by Luo Cheng and Lu Feng, and then be completely defeated. Therefore, the originally ambitious Li Jiancheng suddenly lost his temper. After all, Luo Cheng's martial arts was indeed very strong. Although Pei Yuanqing could win the battle, Pei Yuanqing was the only weapon he used to resist Li Yuanba. Although Pei Yuanqing is as young as Li Yuanba, he has shown extremely terrifying combat power since joining the Tang dynasty. All the generals of the Tang dynasty are no match for him. Li Jiancheng knew that Li Yuanba could defeat an army of 2 million by himself. Such a monster could never be defeated with military strength. Only generals of the same level could stop him. _Filu reminds you, 3 things about reading, collecting and recommending.